Good morning. In this pre-recorded curtain raiser for the measurement and evaluation of entertainment education programs session, I organize my thoughts around three headings. First, what have we thus far learned from entertainment education evaluations? Number two, what in my opinion represents a sweet spot for EE researchers? And number three, in closing, why evaluation, in my opinion, is fundamentally an exercise in humility. So point number one, what have we learned from EE evaluations thus far? What we have learned is the following. Entertainment education as an intervention strategy gets its turbocharge, its power from entertainment, from the entertainment components. It's the entertainment components that drive ratings, eyeballs, earlobes, and likes if you are in a digital space. It is entertainment in the form of an ongoing, long-running narrative that can deliver dose effects. It is entertainment that allows for strong emotional, personal, and affective involvement with characters. It is entertainment that allows learning of new models of behaviors from our favorite characters. And it is entertainment through cliffhangers and suspense that spark interpersonal conversations that happen in between episodes. So it would be fair to say that at the micro level, we have a fairly good understanding and evidence of how narrative persuasion works, how audience members can be transported by a fictional story, how media modeling happens, and so on. We also know further that entertainment education programs can be further turbocharged by employing multimedia and transmedia extensions, by having close tie-ins with on-the-ground partners, by working collaboratively with advocacy groups and service providers, and above all, by investing in research, formative and summative. At the macro level, we know that the entertainment education program or programs is a small part of a large mediascape, and of course it operates within the constraints of its expansive social and media ecology. I know Dr. Pramat Sinha, my colleague from India, and others will discuss this part further. So point number two, what in my opinion is the sweet spot for EE researchers? Now, entertainment education's fundamental narrative premise is captured in two sentences. If you want to understand a culture, listen to its stories. If you want to change a culture, change the stories. So when Soul City, in its television and radio series, introduces the notion of neighbors banging pots and pans to confront a domestic abuser, what it is doing is it is introducing a new collective story, a new collective norm. It is changing the existing story of a domestic abuser in control, a helpless woman who wants help but cannot ask for it, and neighbors who previously felt powerless, who now gain a sense of collective efficacy, that they can do something about it. The old story that domestic violence is a private matter between husband and wife has been changed on the small TV screen. Similarly, in the case of Main Kuch Bhi Kar Sakti Hoon, when girls play soccer, which is a gendered sport, and play with boys, the level of the playing field is more than symbolically leveled. Again, a new story, a new possibility is forged. My favorite British essayist, G.K. Chesterton, used to say that fairy tales are more than true. Not just because they tell us that monsters exist, but because they also tell us that monsters can be vanquished. And in the case of entertainment education, monsters are big and small. So social practices such as domestic violence, monstrous because it happens in the safety of one's home, or child marriage, or female genital cutting, or teenage pregnancy. These are some of the monsters that we are trying to vanquish. these moments of shifts on a television or radio or a web novella, where the story changes, where the monsters are vanquished, where new behaviors, new language are uniquely introduced, represent, in my opinion, the sweet spot for entertainment education researchers. These moments of shifts allow, first, in my opinion, the possibility of creating highly robust measures of degree of exposure, which is our primary independent variable. What have audience members uniquely watched? And second, these moments of shift allows us to study the uptake of these shifts among audience members, which can uniquely be attributed to the program effects of entertainment education. So for instance, when we learned that people in South Africa knew about pot banging as a way to combat domestic abuse, or actually bang their pots and pans, such can be uniquely attributed to the program. For instance, when Main Kuch Bhi Kar Sakti Hoon introduced a new term for male vasectomy, the old term was nasbandi, which means closing of a man's pipes, and a new term, a mastbandi, was introduced based on formative research, which means a joyous flowing of pleasure in one's pipes. This shift of story using language, the shift of perception about snipping of pipes, this unique circumstance is far more easily trackable, allowing for program attribution. So I think this is the sweet spot for EE researchers, and for this to happen, one sees the importance of the creative team, the producers and the directors and the writers working very, very closely with those who are making the instruments and are tracking the uptake. My third point is a very simple one, and that is why evaluation is fundamentally an exercise in humility. Steven Spielberg once said, "The camera denies the existence of what it does not see." So I'm wearing a button-down shirt, and you cannot see it, but I may be wearing pajamas. You will never know. This statement of Spielberg, I think, has tremendous implications, not just for EE program producers, but also for EE researchers. I think all research, given our favorite paradigms and assumptions and methods, provide a partial lens. All research is hence partisan, and it's by its very nature then, being partial and partisan, it is problematic. There are limits to our understanding. So evaluation, we have to constantly remind ourselves, is an exercise in humility. Hence, evaluators must value diversity, a diversity of methods, approaches, viewpoints. We need to employ different cameras, study the phenomena from different angles, terrains, sometimes riding a Cadillac. We like Cadillac research designs, but on bicycles and on foot as well. We need the bird's eye view, and we also need the worm's eye view. And when we can, we should, as increasingly we can now with digital media, invite participation with audience members. So the IVRS, the Integrated Voice Response System, with Main Kuch Bhi Kar Sakti Hoon, generated 1.4 million telephone calls. Hulu gets 1 million unique visitors when East Los High is on, and of course they all come with their digital footprints, and any jottings they make we can analyze. So this is a special kind of pure user-generated data. In closing, as programmers, as researchers, as donors, as all who are involved in the world of social change, I would like us to remember what Albert Einstein used to often say. He used to say that not all things countable count. Not all things that count are countable. Thank you.